Breaking news from a wonky world of cockwombles, because, quite honestly, there's so much refuse to acknowledge what's happening here in the UK and what's being done to you. I would say this, if you carry on like this with your head in the sand, it's always going to be so much easier, isn't it, for the government to take you right.
Britain's political storm has reached a breaking point, and at the centre of it all stands Angela Rayner, Labour's outspoken deputy leader and housing minister. But this time, she's not commanding attention from the dispatch box or rallying crowds with fiery speeches. Instead, she's facing a scandal that could shake the very core of her political career. Leading the charge in this public reckoning is Katie Hopkins, blunt, unapologetic, and utterly relentless. Known for her unfiltered commentary, Hopkins has launched what many are calling her most explosive exposé yet. Her attack wasn't diplomatic or restrained. It was a direct, scathing assault, one she describes as exposing asterisk, the most shameless act of political hypocrisy Britain has seen in years. Asterisk. Before we unpack the details, a quick note: if you find value in this kind of political coverage, make sure to like this video and subscribe. Believe it or not, over 98% of viewers watch without subscribing, and your support helps us keep bringing you stories that cut through the noise. Now, brace yourself, because what follows is a cascade of statements, denials and damage control as Angela Rayner's fiery public image collides with a growing storm she may no longer be able to control.
Prices of the whole summer, when you don't need your heating on, they put the price down. The minute it's fucking freezing and we're about to go into properly Baltic, they shove the price up by 10%. And my question is, where are elderly people supposed to get an extra 150 quid or 1,500 or 2,000 or whatever their extra bill is, right? 300 pounds. Where are they supposed to rustle that? What would you like them to do?
From the very moment Katie Hopkins began speaking, her intent was unmistakable. She wasn't there to be polite. There would be no political pleasantries, no soft diplomacy, and certainly no effort to cushion the uncomfortable truth she was about to deliver. When it came to Angela Rayner, one of Labour's most visible and vocal figures, Hopkins made it clear she had no interest in letting her hide behind polished talking points or carefully managed press statements. What Hopkins unleashed that day wasn't just outrage for the cameras. It was something deeper, the bottled-up frustration of millions of ordinary Britons. Citizens who feel silenced, dismissed, and betrayed by a political class they believe has long abandoned any real sense of integrity or accountability.
Rachel Reeves, what would you like them to do? Would you like them to what? Auction off a kidney, maybe? I mean, what use is a fucking 85-year-old kidney? It's probably knackered. It's had that much piss go through it over a whole lifetime. They can't sell one of them. What do you want them to sell? Their eyeballs, well, the half of them can't fucking see because they're 95. Where are they supposed to find the money? What, under a mattress, really? That's what really bugs me, is it's going to cost them more. Okay, where are they supposed to get it? What, they're going to go out and work, are they?
From the moment Katie Hopkins began speaking, her message was unmistakable. She wasn't there to be diplomatic. There would be no political niceties, no soft handling of reputations, and certainly no attempt to conceal the uncomfortable truths that many refuse to say aloud. When it came to Angela Rayner, one of Labour's most prominent and outspoken figures, Hopkins showed no intention of allowing her to hide behind party spin or the safety of pre-rehearsed press statements. What Hopkins delivered wasn't merely outrage for effect, it carried a far deeper resonance. It was the voice of pent-up frustration, the collective anger of countless Britons who feel ignored, deceived and ridiculed by a political establishment they believe has long lost its moral compass.
Sir Keir Starmer was outlining his plans to solve the housing crisis by building 1.5 million new houses today, but he's been overshadowed by his deputy leader's very own housing crisis. Angela Rayner is tonight facing a potential police investigation over accusations that she lied about her living circumstances before she sold her former council house.
According to official electoral records, while Angela Rayner was registered at a Manchester address she declared as her primary residence, her husband and children were listed elsewhere, at a completely different location. Under UK electoral law, that's not a minor inconsistency, it's a serious breach. By law, every voter must be registered at their genuine, permanent place of residence. Anything else isn't just inaccurate, it's unlawful. And this isn't the sort of administrative error that can be brushed aside. For a senior political figure occupying one of the highest offices in the country, such a discrepancy could carry severe consequences. Yet, remarkably, the embarrassment for Rayner doesn't end there.
Rayner bought a former council house in Manchester in 2007 under Margaret Thatcher's right to buy scheme, before selling it 8 years later in 2015. But it's emerged that despite Rayner being registered at the address of that Manchester council house in 2010, her husband and 2 youngest children were registered at another address.
As housing minister, Angela Rayner once stood before the nation with unwavering conviction, promising to confront Britain's deepening housing crisis head-on. She vowed to deliver 1.5 million new homes, a flagship pledge emblazoned across Labour's campaign literature and repeated in press conferences across the country. For countless families struggling in overcrowded flats and crushed by rising rents, it was a message of hope, a promise that perhaps, finally, change was coming. But today, that pledge has all but disappeared, buried beneath the noise of political spin. What was once a bold commitment has faded into silence, leaving in its wake frustration, disillusionment, and a growing sense that yet another promise has been broken.
Now, under electoral rules, voters must register at their permanent home address, and anyone that knowingly provides false information could face a criminal conviction and prison time.
No updates, no explanations, no results. Katie Hopkins didn't merely point out this failure, she dismantled it with surgical precision. In her words, it's the grotesque irony of a housing minister who once benefited from public housing, only to later abandon the very people that system was designed to protect. And now, as Britain faces yet another harsh winter, energy bills climbing, food prices surging, wages flatlining, Hopkins poses a question that cuts to the heart of national frustration. Asterisk. How did we let this happen? Asterisk. It's a question echoing through kitchen table conversations across the country, whispered in underheated flats, and murmured by voters who feel deceived and forgotten. The sting, Hopkins argues, lies in one painful truth. Angela Rayner wasn't meant to be part of the problem. She was supposed to be the one who stood for ordinary people.
Breaking news from a wonky world of cockwombles, because, quite honestly, there's so much refused to acknowledge what's happening here in the UK and what's being done to you. I would say this, if you carry on like this, with your head in the sand, it's always going to be so much easier, isn't it, for the government to take you right.
Ordinary Britons, the very people who once hoped for a leader brave enough to say enough is enough, now find themselves confronting a familiar disappointment. Yet again, another politician stands accused of playing the same cynical game they once vowed to end. Katie Hopkins' outrage wasn't theatre, it wasn't contrived, it was the sound of genuine anger, the kind that comes from years of watching promises broken and trust betrayed. And whether one agrees with her or not, her fury taps into something real and deeply rooted, a growing sense across Britain that the political class no longer listens, that it smiles for the cameras, then vanishes when it's time to deliver. When Hopkins launched her attack, it went far beyond Angela Rayner. It became a broader indictment of Labour's leadership, a party that once defined itself as the voice of working people, but which many now see as having turned its back on them. This is more than a scandal. It's a symptom of something far more corrosive, a collapse of credibility at the heart of British politics. And if Rayner or her colleagues believe this storm will fade quietly, they may be gravely mistaken, because as the controversy widens, the silence from Labour's top ranks has grown deafening. No emergency press briefings, no serious investigations, no accountability, just the same worn-out refrain, "We take these matters seriously," a line so hollow it now provokes only frustration. For millions struggling with rising bills, failing services, and vanishing faith in leadership, that silence says everything, and it speaks louder than any apology ever could.